Hello everyone. Today is Tuesday, May 28th. It's 3:30 p.m. It's about a half hour before the regular session closed. You can see my computer clock on my right. On my left is the time and sales. The E-mini S&P having sold off down to 28.12 or so. So today the focus is on smaller accounts. I changed a lot of the charts to either two contracts and a much lower goal, or one contract and a lower goal. So first up is the DAX. Before we get started, I also have a new video of live trading from Jim, our client that's trading the combine, and he signed up for a $250,000 combine with NinjaTrader. This is one of several that he's qualifying for and has qualified for, more than one. And I'm going to show that in a separate video because it's really important that we look at that. Today's video is, like I said, we'll focus on smaller accounts, what's possible to do with smaller accounts and smaller goals. So first up is the DAX on the Super 14 tick. And on this one, I changed the number of contracts to, and you can see we only trading one contract here, and then I lowered the goals to a $700 profit target and a $650 loss limit. And of course you could do less than this, but I did this much on the DAX because of the size of the bar. And you can see by the trades there was plenty of room to go here had I loosened up the stops. Anyway, this did in fact hit its goal and have a couple of ticks of positive slippage. Okay, next is the E-mini S&P on a Super 4 tick with a 60-minute higher time frame, and this is trading two contracts, but I lowered the goal to 475, a loss limit of 425. That's only less than 250 a contract, and this almost got stopped out here and then recovered when the market sold off around the noon hour here and actually came up and hit its goal. Okay, the E-mini S&P on a Super 6 tick with the Super 6 higher time frame. This is trading two contracts, a goal of 200 per contract and a loss limit of 375. And this hit its goal in a single trade. It did have some slippage here. We enter a market order, but it did hit its goal. Okay, the NASDAQ on a 1597 Heikin-Ashi chart first made an equity high of about $400, and then it drew down about $800 or $400 per contract, but then it caught the sell-off here very nicely. It has a closed P&L of 170 and an open P&L of about 900. So with about 30 minutes of trading, I'm going to move the stop a little bit closer, and this is going to end up pretty decent for the day after recovering from this drawdown. This one is trading two contracts, and we have a goal of 1250 and a loss limit of 1,000. Okay, here's the 30-year Treasury bond on a 150 tick line break chart with a modest goal of 525, I believe it is. And this one I forgot to change it to one contract, but still two contracts with fixed targets of 7 and 9 ticks. And it hit its fixed targets here, but then I'm trailing the stop at 5 bars. So that caused us to get stopped out here with a decent profit, not get dragged down closing at the close of the bar. That would have been a break-even trade had I not had the stop so tight. But still, for a small account, this is quite doable. This basically hit its goal and had some slippage. This had a total of 3 trades and no losers using our open range filter. Okay, the DAX on a 34 tick line break chart, this is trading two contracts, had a minor drawdown of less than $150 and came back from that and has a goal of 1125 and a loss limit of 900, so that's about 550 per contract, and this hit its goal. Okay, the ES on a regular 5 Renko chart with a higher time frame filter of Super Renko 6 and a goal of 725 trading 2 contracts did hit its goal. It did 700 for the day on these 2 trades. Okay, next is the crude oil on a 987 Heikin-Ashi tick chart, and this I lowered the goal to 420 and profit target of 380, and even with 2 contracts it hit its goal and it drew down almost $300 but recovered and ended up hitting its goal. Okay, the ES on a 1597 Heikin-Ashi tick chart, I lowered the goal to 500. That's 250 per contract and a loss limit of 225, and this did 425, so it had some slippage but hit its goal in a single trade early in the session. The bonds on a 500 Heikin-Ashi tick chart has a goal of 600 and a loss limit of 550 trading 2 contracts and did 562.50. It hit its goal and had some slippage here. Remember, the value of a tick in the bonds is 1 tick. The drawdown was only about $100. Okay, the DAX on a 6 range chart. This is a new chart I'm trying for the first time based on range bars and using the open range filter, and this is trading 2 contracts, and I set this up to have a goal of 750 or 375 per contract with a 650 loss limit, and it looks like it far exceeded that. It had really great positive slippage here on this last trade, it looks like. So this was pretty impressive performance. The other thing I did with this that is a little unusual is that I started it at the open of the US session, and I used the open range filter to be the opening price of the US session, and that proved to be pretty good. It only took long trades here. There was a short, a false start here, and that drew down about $350 or $175 per contract, but then came back with these 3 winners in a row once price got above the US session opening price for the DAX. Okay, the E-mini S&P on a Super Renko 6 tick with a goal of 750 trading 2 contracts hit its goal and had a couple of ticks of slippage, and you can see the trades here. This was done within the first 30 minutes of trading. It took this trade right off the open. Okay, the DAX on our Super Renko 6 tick with our sensitivity of 9, very high sensitivity, filtering out a lot of the noise here, has a goal of 1500, and this hit its goal and ended up with a couple of ticks of slippage at 1450. Okay, the NASDAQ on a 987 tick line break chart. This one is only trading a single contract with a goal of 500 and a loss limit of 400. And so this hit its goal and had really great positive slippage for a single contract. And you can see the trades here. Once again, I'm running stops fairly tight. Okay, the crude oil on a Super Renko 6 tick with a goal of 1,000 did 900 something today. Looks like 930, and this is using our line break logic, and we just had one tiny loser here of about a tick and struggled a little bit early on, but then came back catching this sell-off and hit its goal and had some slippage. This actually did 970 for the day, so there must be another trade here. There's another small winner right here. Okay, the DAX on a 34 tick line break chart, a goal of 1,000, and I don't have a loss limit in here. But anyway, this hit its goal and only drew down $300 or $150 per contract. I didn't put a loss limit in here because I'm really testing the limits of the drawdown. That's one way to do it. And so I showed this chart last week as well, and it's doing pretty good considered. So I'll probably put a loss limit in here of about $300 or $400 per contract. Okay, the crude oil on our Super Renko 8 tick, I changed to 1 contract with a goal of 400 and a loss limit of 350, and that did 270 and didn't trade again. I'm not sure if it had slippage here or not. It hit its goal and had slippage, but anyway, it did 270 for the day on a single contract. Okay, the E-mini S&P on a 987 Heikin-Ashi tick chart, I lowered the goal on this to 400 and a loss limit of 350. Still trading 2 contracts. The drawdown was minimal here, and there was a small loser, less than $100, and then it came back with this trade here and hit its goal in pretty short order. So again, most everything I follow won today, lowering the goals. It was a pretty interesting experiment, and I'm really happy with the outcome. Okay, one last chart I forgot to show. This is the E-mini S&P Super Renko 4 tick with the Super Renko 2 tick as the other time frame, and this has a goal of 400, I believe, 375 and 350 on a single contract. Now what happened here is it drew down and it came to about 275 and then recovered at 200, and I actually turned off the auto trader here, and I shouldn't have done that. I should have just let it trade. It would have easily hit its goal, and then I turned it back on and off. So right here I traded manually and did a very poor job and drew it down to 100, and then I just turned it back on and let the auto trader trade again, and of course it did better than I did and finished the day still at 250. That's all for today's video. Thanks for watching.